Hi, hello, good evening, and good day, whatever it is, wherever you are. This is Strat Chat, and we are so super jazzed to be welcoming the gorgeous, the always effervescent Miss Minee. Thank you so much for agreeing to join us, especially so early in the morning, 9 a.m. My goodness gracious.
Earliest, earliest I've woken up in a long time.
Well, thank you so much for
Oh,
rising and shining just for us.
love it.
Definitely got a lot of questions for you, so let's just hop onto this thing. I am Kyle Petty, and I am joined, as always, by my co-hosts John Dunphy and Gina Morgino, and this is Strat Chat, arguably your favorite reality TV podcast. You can find us on all the socials at Strat Chat Pod, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So welcome once again, Miss Minee. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
First question, right out of the gate. How familiar were you, like with Big Brother, before you entered the game?
I would say that I was very familiar. I'd probably watched like the
Mm.
2000s up to like the newest season, like from when I was a child, Maybe not like the first few ones because I was like, really young, but as soon as like 8 years old, 13 years old, I was watching it like religiously. I remember going to my
Ah.
mum and being like, I can't wait to go on a show like that. I want to go in there. I'll dominate. Like literally 8 years old. I was like, I will dominate. So I was like, yes. Had the confidence.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
No, that's fantastic. And we can definitely see by the way that your game was played. Like you definitely had a very strategic mindset, especially in your end game, which we'll certainly get into. But just I think some of the relationships that you had in the house kind of like threw things askew, like in the beginning. So before we get to the obvious, can you tell us what other friendships you had in the house that were not romantic? Like what friendships did we not see of Minee's?
Mm, Look, I was pretty much friends with everyone. I think at the start, I don't know. I was friends with Kwan, and I feel like a lot like Kwan's bit kind of got cut short, which is unfortunate. But like,
Yeah.
I was so confused when she went home because I was like, I love this girl. I don't understand what like happened. I thought everyone was voting for Zach, and then I got to know Zach, and I was like in love with Zach. But yeah, the sisters and I were really close. Like honestly, I thought I was like throughout the entire game, as soon as I saw them, I was like, this is so unfair. I know they're going to get to the top. And everyone just had them in their top three. And I was like, they're going to easily get there, which is good. But I also knew like this is two people. So it's a double chance of them winning. And that's why I was like, even though I loved them, I was also like, I need to get them out because of the competition.
Sure.
Yeah, like it was an interesting situation with the sisters because like obviously they only had one vote and they were nominating together and stuff like that, but it's still two separate people that can go and have different conversations and get different information and then come back together and use that. So it was definitely an interesting situation for them.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of like I got along with everyone though. At the end of the day, like there was almost no one in the house that I was just not like able to have like a 30-minute chat with and just like be able to talk their head off and they can talk my head off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting with the sisters because, like John said, like you from the outside looking in, you're like, oh, okay, well, they don't really have an advantage, right? Because they don't have an extra vote. It's not like they have any extra agency in the game. But being able to navigate through this thing with two different people, you do certainly create the situation where it's like, okay, I may have just had like a little tiff with Tay, but it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to put them up because I really like Ari or vice versa. So it's like, yeah, and that does kind of affect things because it really does kind of lay out the pathway forward, doesn't it?
Exactly. And when I was kind of got in there, I knew both of them were going to partner up with the guys, and that's 2 votes. Whereas like I maximum could only have 1 vote on my side if I had a guy. So like they almost had double the power. And then also because they had their sibling in there, it's like already makes the experience so much easier because you have someone that knows you on the outside, like someone to confide in. And my mum told me that when I was like seeing her for the first time. She was like, wow, they have an advantage because they have that emotional support that like no one else has in there. And you know that support is like huge because you're going in there not knowing anyone and like kind of just like scared to what impression you'll make on them. Like you want everyone to like you, but having a sibling in there is like that already support, and then everyone just kind of, you know, gravitates towards you.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't think about that too. That's very interesting.
Like it's funny because like we saw, especially at the end of the game, right? The last 4 got to get visits from the like family members from home, and it's like I wonder if it was just Tay or just Ari that was alone in the house, it might have been their sister that was coming to be the one to visit them and like give them that support, but they didn't. Like they had that the whole game by having each other there. So that definitely is an interesting thing where like you have that.
That's so fair.
Home, you know, before anybody else.
Oh yeah, easily. It's like I didn't realize how much it kind of affected me until my mum came in, and I was like, wow, like I haven't had emotional support in a long time. And like there was a lot of things that just happened in the house. Like I had a bit of drama, and seeing somebody that like loves me and knowing that I'm loved, like it was a huge thing. Like just knowing that there's somebody out there again, because you just kind of forget the outside world.
Yeah. So you mentioned you got along with everyone in the house. Was there anyone other than Bella that we didn't get along with so well?
No, okay. Well, the thing is, Josh, like when I decided to break things off with Louis, what wasn't shown is that like I knew he wanted to put me up for eviction. That's why like I was like, look, this is affecting us. I need to break it off, like, because otherwise there's no chance that we'll work out on the outside. And I think that was kind of stupid on my behalf because I should have like, you know, sorry, that's tangent, but I should have like wanted to keep his vote more. Like I was like, it wasn't very strategic on my behalf to like break things off. But I was just thinking with my heart, and like the fact that I can't probably get with him again if he like wants to vote me out, and then we're kind of over forever. But Josh, after I broke things off with Louis, Josh was kind of like felt like Louis was disrespected, and also like the way that I handled the Bella situation, he felt like I was disrespecting Louis, which is fair enough. But me and Josh have had convos since. I actually spoke to his mum the other day in the shopping center. I saw them and we were just like chatting. I freaking love Josh, like so down to earth, so lovely, like not a bad thing to say about him. He's just so loyal and he's like so protective of his friends. So that's kind of why we butted heads a little bit in the house.
Okay.
That makes some sense.
Yeah.
So, since we're on the heels of the Bella conversation anyway, what happened there? Because it feels like even before Louis was involved, there was already some kind of sparks flying there. So what was going on with that?
I don't know if I don't know what I'm allowed to say, because I know that there's a lot of things that like I can't say, but from what they've told me is that they've seen each other before they entered the house, and then they both like in the audition said that each other were attractive, but which I couldn't care less about, you know. In my past I've never really been jealous in relationships, but then when you're in that environment it's like so like confined. And when she first came in, I was like obsessed with her. I was like, okay, we're gonna get like along very well, because I need girls on my side, because the guys had picked off, I think it was 3 girls already. And I was like, we can't get rid of girls. We need to have like girls on our side. There's a fucking girl in the house. Yes, let's do it. Like we need to build up the girls group. And then I a few things happened that weren't actually shown on TV. But see, that's what's tricky for me. I don't know. I don't know if I can say what she actually did because it wasn't shown. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's give you a little bit more context. We already knew about Bella and like any previous relationships about that. We already knew some of that stuff. So if that opens you up to being willing to discuss that a little bit further, because it was interesting because there was that conversation. I'm actually really glad that you mentioned this because I forgot it because it feels like it was so long ago. But there was a conversation I believe you had with Bella right there at the pool during that whole kiss cam thing. Was that pretty girls, we don't get jealous. And one of the
I cringe
and one
so
of the things
much.
that like yes, because I will tell you that I don't think you ever looked more stunning than in that orange dress. That thing, I took my breath away. I texted them both. I said, "Oh my God, did you see Minee in that orange number? My God." So like, we're talking about pretty girls shouldn't be jealous. I don't understand what happened there because you're gorgeous.
Oh,
so like,
thank you.
The heck?
Oh yeah, no, look, like, and that was coming from a place of like, all of the girls in this house are so stunning. Like, there's no one that should feel like jealous of another girl. Like, and at that time, she hadn't really like. Okay, when we were in the pool, when we were in the spa, like when she first came up, I noticed that she like wanted to sit next to Louis, but I thought that it's because they know each other from outside. Like, she's familiar with him. She probably just wants to like build that relationship. So then like the other relationships are easier to form because then she can stay in the house, which is fair enough. But then I heard like a few girls tell me that like she's planning on hooking her way up to stay in the house, like using guys and like, which is a great tactic, but at the time, like, it's not really great to stay on the girl's side if you're just like trying to hook up with everyone's man. Like, it's where the girls are getting outnumbered, and why are you going against the girls? Like, we need the numbers, So in my head, I was like, oh, like, come on, why try and hook up with Louis? Like, don't you want me to be on your side, kind of thing? Like, it's just, it made everyone very uncomfortable. And then it was like a lot of body language things, like actions that she physically did, like, that I was like, oh wow, this is a lot to see in real life, because I've never seen a girl do that before. So I was like, oh my gosh, is she okay? Like, why is she doing this?
Well, so, I mean, listen, we're going to have to get a little granular this
granular.
We have to get granular, because we can't say that those things happened and there's no context around it. So what were some of those things that, kind of started to get under your skin? What were they?
Okay, so there was this one particular situation. We were all like on the beds, and everyone was just like, we were just chilling out. Everyone was just like in a huge conversation, like in a circle. And then me and Louis and Lewis were just sitting on one of the other beds. And I just noticed like Louis like kind of faded out, like he's just staring into the distance. And then so I like look at where he's looking, and I'm like, Bella's like laying down with her dress up and like,
it's like, excuse me, you're looking at her.
Touching herself, And when she was doing that, I was like, what? And then she would look back at Louis and then look at Josh. And what I don't think was shown was like, she was hardcore flirting with Josh as well, like hardcore, with same as Louis. And me and Tay were both like, we would have conversations where we're like, oh my gosh, is she okay? Why is she like gunning after our men? Like, I don't understand. And she was like, we have to get her out. And I was like, okay, we're doing it. We're getting her out, because like I can't feel this uncomfortable all the time. Like, and then it would be like a situation at the pool. She'd be laying at the pool and like her legs would be open, and she would be like, doing that. And then just like staring at open legs, just like, I don't even know, hands in places that hands shouldn't be. Yeah. And then I would be like, she would be like straight like in front of Louis and doing it. And Louis would be like, Louis would be like, what the fuck? Like, and then he actually told me outside of the house when he like had moved back, she was actually living in his house. Because she was dating one of his friends. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
we heard that twice.
Yeah, it was so weird. And I was like, we were trying to work it out at the time, and I was like, look, I'm so sorry, but like, if she's living there, like, I can't really do long distance with somebody when I feel like she would be doing inappropriate like things to you at the house. Like, why would I want to be with somebody when I feel so uncomfortable with the things that she did? And he would literally give me validation. He would be like, yeah, like she's doing some stuff that I'm really uncomfortable with. And like, he would kind of egg it on. Like, he would be like, yeah, no, she just like always is touching me. She's always being appropriate. So I thought, oh my gosh, like I literally, it's not just me overthinking, it's also him validating me and saying like, yeah, she's doing this, she's doing that. Like when he was in the pants with her in bed, that like whole situation, you didn't
wild.
see? Yeah, it was wild. What you didn't see was the next day when we were out of the pants, he comes up to me and he's like, I actually understand where you're like coming from. Like she was touching me underneath the pants. Like, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, so I wasn't just going crazy. Like she totally would have tried something if you guys were in the King and Queen suite. So I was like, I'm glad that I didn't let them, because seeing the ending of like Ari and Jake's relationship, I was like, glad that they weren't in the King and Queen suite.
Right. I actually, so it's funny to bring up Ari and Jake, because I wanted to ask something kind of sort of round all of this, because not that TJ and Bella necessarily went about it the same way, but do you think that Bella was looking at all at what like TJ did, in the fact that he kind of swooped in and like took Ari away from Jake, and then the next thing you know, Jake goes up on the block and gets voted out of the game? Like, do you think that Bella was feeling pressure to be like, I have to break up one of these couples too in order to stay in this game? Because TJ broke up Ari and Jake, and then he got to stay in the game for a little bit longer, you know? Like, do you think Bella was thinking like, this is my way forward in the game, I've got to break up one of these couples? And unfortunately, it felt like you and Louis were the ones that were in the crosshairs there, you know?
Yeah, I definitely think that was part of it, but at the same time, I think like, I don't know, I think that you could have gone with somebody that wasn't in a couple as well, and you probably would have had just as much power. Like, yeah, there was a few guys, like even Jake, like if she had gone from earlier before, like, you know, she asked him not to vote for her, then I feel like they would have had just as much power as me and Louis. Obviously, you know, when I went into the house, I was like, not only did I find him attractive, but he's also the most strategic player in this game. That's why I went for him. Like, because what's better than somebody doing the hard work for you and you're just by their side, like breezing along through it. Probably the most strategic shit I did in the game. But she probably saw that and was like, okay, I need that guy because he's so strategic, which is fair enough. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm certainly happy for some of the context around the whole Bella situation, you know, because as a viewer, not getting to be privy to some of that stuff, you look back and you see at how things went between you, Bella, and Louis, and then Ollie enters the house, and it's like, well, the hell with this man, you know, because Ollie's here and he's been protesting. I'm like all of a sudden, like I'm down the clown.
So that is so funny. Yeah.
So it's like, because he wasn't in there more than like 5 seconds, you were like, oh.
I was like, yeah, he was.
Wait a minute, what happened here?
You know what? When Louis said that thing about all of us being psychos and whatever, I was just like, I'm gonna make him jealous. Like now that another guy's come in the house, he's made me jealous. Now I'm gonna make him jealous. I'm gonna like, you know, egg it on a little bit. Even though when I first saw Ollie, I wasn't like, he was my type, but I wasn't like, other than him being from Perth, I wasn't super interested in him at like the start. But then when he was like his personality, I was like, oh, his personality is really fun. He's really nice. Like, yeah, I'll try and keep him in the game, because he was like saying, you know, he loves us girls. The girls are looking after him. We looked after him by not getting him voted out because of the Jake situation. So I felt like he owed us something, which I was like, okay, I'm going to try and keep this guy in the house so then he can vote with the girls, because we really needed some girls' votes. Since getting Bella out.
that kind of came up with us too, because we were like, you know, she is like, no, you have to vote out Bella. Like, it's not fair to me. Like, I need to get her out of here. And then Ollie came in and it was like, well, I can't vote out.
No, I want to keep him around.
Keep him around. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Freshly broken up with Louis. I'm like, yeah, let's keep Ollie in. I need another man.
I mean, let's be fair. He's certainly not bad to look at.
Mm.
And if we feel like there's a favor in there that we can call in later, listen, we're playing a game.
Yeah.
We're playing a game.
I'm actually really upset. Like, one thing that was sad watching it back, I was like, damn, we actually would have had a tie if if Dion, myself, Gracie May and stuff voted for somebody else. Was it TJ? I think it was TJ instead of Ollie. And I was like actually kind of upset because I felt like we would have broken up one of the couples, which is literally what needed to happen for any of us to even like succeed going forward. Like me, Dion, Gracie May. Like, our success was not going to come from keeping Tay and Ari's couples in. It was going to come from keeping like an outsider in. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And talking about these couples too, and like, I know we started this conversation, you were telling us about how like you were actually a fan of Big Brother at like a young age and watched it growing up, and now you're getting a chance to play in the game. Were you like disappointed at all that the season that you end up on was like a season where they're pushing House of Love and couples and stuff? Like, do you almost wish that you got to come in without that kind of theme?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I tried to use it to my advantage when I got in there. Like, I literally think I was in the interview, like right after we just like finished. They were like, "Oh, we're looking for some young singles like to audition," and I was like, "Oh, like, yeah, cool." I didn't think that it would be like such a full-on thing with the love, but I thought if I find someone in there, I'll probably be more powerful. So I guess that's a good thing anyways. Yeah. But I wish that it wasn't that kind of season. Like, I wish that it was that normal kind of gameplay and like fighting it out kind of season instead of the love. But yeah, it's fine. I tried to avoid going on like a love show because I just don't want that like connotation of like, I don't know, love being around my name or like all of that stuff, but it's fine. I don't really care to be honest.
Right, because we're not a tramp, so we don't want to be viewed as that. Right.
Trying not to be, apparently. One point.
No, you absolutely did not. No, it was two people. The thing is that, like, when we heard that, this season was going to be like the House of Love. Look, I watched one season of Big Brother Australia on Paramount Plus. Then we watched the last season live. John and I watched it, and I was a little turned off. Right? I was like, "What do you mean House of Love? I don't know." And then once we saw that the theme was kind of dropped, once the season was coming out, it's like, "Oh no, it looks even worse."
Yeah.
Do you think that being an old school, Big Brother fan as you are, do you think that later on down the road, if this was a longer season, do you think that it could have maybe played out a little bit better? Because looking back at the whole season, I think that while in the beginning, the major focus was all on the love relationships. Once we got away from that, we were actually really focusing more on the game. It definitely added another layer of intrigue to the entire thing. This is a whole different dynamic than we're used to. I don't know how much of international Big Brother you watch, but usually if you're in a romantic relationship with somebody in the house, you are target number one. Got to get out of here. Where that wasn't the case this season. And actually was if you weren't in a relationship, now all of a sudden you're a target, which is an interesting shift.
Yeah.
And it kind of created some very, very interesting social situations where who would have cared about these punishment pants if there were not relationships going on in the house? So do you think that if the game was longer than 20 something days, if this was a typical Big Brother and we saw 60 or 70 days, could that have been more interesting to you?
Oh yeah, 100%. But at the end of the day, I don't mind that it was too short. Us at day 28, we were exhausted. It was hectic in there. The amount of drama that were just I don't even think that they could even fit it into the episodes because every single day was so wild. There was just different ups and downs in relationships. There was people switching partners. There was people strategizing. And I think that they only introduced the strategy from when Jake got out because the girls had their girl moment. But there was strategy throughout the whole game. Louis was pretty much running the show, just telling everyone who to vote, who to put like their votes on. He was like, okay, you go this person, you go this person, which is like, he was so smart in that sense. Like he deserves more credit for all the hard work he did. But yeah, it was crazy. I think if it lasted much longer, there would have definitely been more in like intense like relationships and bonds like forming, but we already kind of had that. Like it was just so intense in there. Like, yeah, I'm actually glad because I feel like it added a layer. Like nobody has seen that kind of in Big Brother where it's like super jealousy, like lashing out on each other,
Right,
girls going
right.
crazy, guys getting so jealous, one like girl moving to another guy. Like it was hectic. Yeah, it was a lot of drama, but it was good
Right.
to watch. Like especially like
It
it's
was.
not like Love Island where you know you have to stay in a bed. You could move around to whatever bed you wanted to. It was kind of
Right.
crazy.
Tramps.
Yeah, I mean, this season, it like Kyle was mentioning, like when we first heard House of Love, we were like, I don't know how I feel about this, but I think it has a lot to do with the cast. Like you guys were so entertaining to watch. Like you made it such a great season, and yeah, like I do wish that it was like a little bit longer, I guess. But hearing what you're saying too about how it's like 20 something days, that probably felt like months for you guys, like
Sure.
literally 3 or 4 months. So
Yeah, when I was with Louis, I felt like I was with him like I'd known him my whole life. I was like, this is like another world inside my other world. And I just felt like our relationship was just so strong because you're around them all the time. You're with them, like you're not seeing anyone else. You're just seeing them and you're just like fully involved. It's crazy how like fast relationships develop in there. Like, and I think I've heard it so much before, but I'm like, oh no, surely you can't like love someone in like 20 days. But I was like, wow, I have such strong feelings for this guy. When I like left the house, I like felt sick when I came back home and I didn't see him. And I was like, why do I miss this guy so much? But yeah, it was weird.
yeah. I feel like when you have no phone, no television, just the people there and like the closest person to you, if like for you being Louis, like to just suddenly be cut off from that person after all that time probably is like a kind of like a shock. So
shock, yeah, it was a shock to the system. Like, and the same with everything. Like everyone, when I was out of the house, I was like, wow, I miss these people so much. Like I miss being like in this huge hostel kind of living situation. Like I need to go travel to a hostel because I miss this. It was like a massive hostel. It was crazy.
Sure, yeah.
Wow.
Go ahead, Gina.
No, I don't want to like totally switch gears from like everything we're talking about, but I do want to get in a little more to the strategy end of things because we did see, you know, you were voted out of the house and then you immediately went into this little half house with Gracie May. And then when you came back in, it was like we saw a completely different Minee for the latter part of this game. And it's like, we saw a little bit of your conversations with Gracie May about like, okay, we have to like band the girls together. The guys are running the game. We have to figure this out. And then all of a sudden you come in guns blazing. You're winning competitions left, right, and center. Like what was the switch that kind of flipped in your mind in that moment?
So I always like had a kind of a plan going into the house. Like I knew that I didn't want to win any competitions until I felt threatened. Like until I felt like, okay, I'm on the chopping block. Now I need to win competitions. I was not really trying to win them at the start, like, or even in the middle. I was like, you know what, I'm with Louis. I should be all right. Like he's the one kind of delegating the votes. So when I came back in, I knew that like there were 3 people that voted for me. Even though Gracie May got some more votes, I was like, if I go back in, like I have to win competitions to be able to get in the top 3. I can't just breeze up to the top 3. Like it's not going to happen. But yeah, so I think that that's mainly what happened. And also the conversations with Gracie May were just so much more like in depth than was even shown. Like we literally had a full-on plan. Big Brother knew about our full-on plan to get back into the house and get ourselves into top 3. We planned on like me going into the house. Top 4 was me, her, Louis and Lewis. And then whoever won that final challenge would be able to bring. So Gracie May probably wouldn't have been in the top 3 anyway. She probably would have been 4th. But if things had gone her way, like our way, and Louis had won the finale challenge still, then yeah, it would have been so much fun. I was like we were so hyped up around it. Like we were telling each other how we're going to win these challenges, what we need to do, who we need to kick out. It was crazy.
Wow. Did you have any doubts that Louis would bring you back in, or did you feel like?
I was actually shitting myself when I heard like, oh, it's the person you love the most. It's going to delegate whether you get back into the house or not. I was like, oh shit, maybe shouldn't have broken up with him.
Wow.
But when I saw the money, I was kind of like, I knew in the back of my mind, like Louis is one of those guys where he understands like how much this like game meant to me and how much like it was a literal once in a lifetime experience. I probably will never go back into the Big Brother house again. Like most people in their lives do not even have the chance to do that. So he knew that like to take someone's experience away for $5,000 would just be freaking stupid. Like it would just be, yeah, stupid. And I knew that like he wasn't broke, so he's not going to go take the money because he really needs the money, you know? So I was kind of expecting him to bring me back into the house a little bit, like just a little bit.
Okay. It's interesting to hear that you also had to strategize. Like you and Gracie May came up with this plan, and then I think we all expected Louis to bring Gracie May back. So once he didn't, you then had to like adjust again and be like, all right, this whole plan that me and Gracie May came up with, like now I have to do this alone.
Yeah, it was hard. Like when I came back into the house, I was like there's no way I'm going to be able to do this plan that we literally planned together without like as many girls because she's not here. So yeah, it was kind of hard. When I found out she wasn't coming back, I was like, oh, this is so hard, because also I wasn't really close with her in the house. Like I voted on her to leave because obviously I wanted to keep myself, but like I wasn't that close to her in the house. So when we were in the halfway house, we really just like got a closer bond and like got to know each other a lot more. We had to entertain each other for freaking days on end. It was horrible, but yeah, we got so close.
Yeah.
So it was hard watching her go as well, just as a friend, like, because I know how much she enjoyed the experience, and I felt like horrible for her. I literally was just like, why? You are like, oh yeah, but I was so angry about it. I literally, when I was putting Louis up, and I was friends with Louis, I was like, justice for Gracie May. Like, I was so angry.
No, we like that in this house. We like that. We're big Gracie May stan. Yeah, we love her. Love her.
I do love her. She's such an angel.
So we've discussed a couple of times, but your breakup with Louis and everything like that. Once he brought you back from the house, and now you're back playing the game, all we kept hearing is like, don't break up with me on national television. We're a couple. We're playing this game together. And it's like, yeah, you're already laughing because you know where this is going. You already broke up with him on national television. So what was that? A of all. And then B of all, like, is this like a fake couple thing? Like, who was this for? You kept saying like, we're a couple, but we all knew you weren't. So who are you convincing?
So it's actually super funny. I think like
it is.
We were really close. Like, and when I broke up with him, I was like, you know what? Like, let's still play the game together because I know you need my support and I need your support. Like, even though we're not like dating, we'll still play the game together and, like get each other to the end. You know, if I win challenges, I'm going to bring you with. I'm never going to nominate you. Little did I know he was planning on nominating me if he won. So that sucks. But at the end of the day, I won the challenges, and I was like, he brought me back into the house. He like my childhood dream. He just like made it alive again. So I was like, I really owe him for this one. And please don't break up with me. It was more like a joke because I had already done it. I was like, oh, just don't break up with me on national television to get back at me, because Big Brother would always be like, yeah, so how's Minee other than when she broke up with you? He would constantly take the piss out of Louis, and it was hilarious. And I was like, just don't break up with me.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Big Brother was hilarious. Like when we were in the house, he was just so quick-witted. I was like, this man really listens to everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hilarious.
Big Brother as a character, just as a quick aside, is definitely one of the best parts of Big Brother Australia, because we don't have that in America. There's no narrator. There's nobody talking to anyone. It's just everyone just talking to themselves. Like it's like very different in America.
What?
So yeah,
That is
yeah, we don't have
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
So it's really,
He
really
literally
fun to
makes the
watch.
show.
It really
Yeah,
does.
yeah. He was so quick-witted. Yeah. He like anytime you say something smart ass comment, he comes back like 10 times harder. And none of it was shown, and I was like, you don't understand how funny it is. It's hilarious. Like, yeah, it was hilarious.
I love that.
He would just roast Dion, roast Louis, especially Dion. He would roast Dion. It was hilarious.
Dion was always like one of our favorites, like just personality wise. I mean, like, and also like, I mean, hot as hell. Like,
Yeah,
like
100%.
like seriously, he's not here. So like, that's like honestly. But obviously, when you came back from the half house, you were on a comp win tear, right?
Yeah.
Just winning back to back. Did you ever consider putting Louis up?
No. Because like, I don't know. I just didn't want to be the reason for him to go home. And I knew that if I put him up, he was going. Like, everyone wanted him gone. Everyone like left in the house. The sisters wanted him gone. The guys, like Lewis and Josh didn't, but everyone else wanted him gone. So I was like, if I put him up, he's gonna leave, and then I don't have that support, because if he wins a game, I'm like staying. And you know, I don't know. I wouldn't want to end his experience when he literally just like made my experience happen again. So
Right.
That's fair.
I felt I owed him. Yeah.
Would you still have been singing that same tune if he didn't vote for Josh to go?
Oh, that was a hard one. Hey, I don't know. I think he really. That's so hard. He's like, at the end of the day, I kind of knew that he wasn't gonna vote with his heart. Like, I know him. He is like full on. He knew what would be best for his game to get him to the end, and that was like not to keep Josh around, because the thing is, if he kept Josh, and then the sisters won the last challenge, which they could have, then he's not in the final three, and he knew that. But if he didn't keep Josh and the sisters won in the final challenge, there would have been more likely that the sisters would have gotten rid of Taylor, because they would have known Taylor has more likely chance of winning, like, you know, at the end than Louis did.
Yeah.
You know, so in my head, like, even though the sisters said they would want an all-girls top three, I kind of knew if they were in the situation where Big Brother was like, do you want a mum to, like, you know, be in the top three with you, or do you want like this manipulator to be in the top three with you? Which one would you win against, you know? So I think that he knew that at the end of the day, and that's why he put Josh out.
Right.
Yeah.
So now,
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to
It's
wrap
very
your head
hard.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's very fun. That's what I
Mhm.
love about this
Yeah.
game. I love diving
it.
into like situations like that. Yeah, it's just so many
Yeah.
layers. Oh, so yummy! It's so yummy.
I'm
So many people didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Right.
I'm curious too. Had you been the one, as opposed to Louis, who won that Final Four competition, who would you have cut and who would you have taken with you?
I'm so glad that I didn't win. Like, I definitely would have put Taylor in my top three. I was planning on taking Louis and Taylor, because I just always had thought there's two people, like double the amount of people to love. Fall in love with. And that's what happened. So at the end of the day, I don't really mind, but I thought like Taylor really kind of needed the money more than like anyone else that was in the. She has a kid, like my sister
Right.
that has a kid. I look after my nephew all the time, and like if I could give her 100K right now, I would. So I know
course.
that for like, yeah, not just because she's a mum, but like parenting is so expensive. I was like, you probably need the more
Sure.
money more than me to go travel, or like, you know, buy an investment property or something like that, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's such an
So I would have definitely chosen her.
Yeah, that's such an interesting position to be in. I personally, you know, not that anybody asked for my opinion, but here it is. I think that the house as a collective made an error letting Taylor get as far as she did. Because I do think that cutting her is a game-ending move. If you had any hope for actually winning this thing, you couldn't be the one solely responsible
can't
for
get rid of
ending her
her.
game. Right. And I feel like that's kind of the position that Louis was put in. I think that Tay and Ari were a problem as well. But like Taylor, because we've already seen, Australia does not like the strategic gameplay. They don't like that. They want to be nice and get along, very, very cool. And like, so once you get to this point, that either Taylor is going to win or you're not going to be, because you're the one who sent her out. She should have gone weeks ago. And no disrespect to Taylor. Love her. We had a lovely conversation with her as well. I think she's a very warm and genuine person, very sweet. From a game perspective, she should have been gone a long time ago.
You can't be the one to get her out.
No,
yeah.
not by yourself.
100%. And that was kind of my fault, to be honest, because I just wanted to keep girls in the game. But yeah, I kind of was the one that kept her in.
Yeah, any girls but her.
I was like, I didn't even think about the fact that she was a parent at the end. Like, I didn't even think about like, oh, who would Australia vote for? Because I never even assumed I would get to the top 3 to like be up voting against someone. Like, yeah, it was wild to me. So I never actually thought, oh, who's gonna win? Who's gonna get Australia's votes behind them? It was not on my mind at all. Clearly, with that drama with Bella, I was not thinking about winning. I was thinking about like having a good time, stirring the pot, like getting like a good time in. I didn't even think about it. So yeah, that was probably my fault. I shouldn't have kept just girls and my boyfriend in there, but
wow.
You learn.
Yeah. It was really fun to watch you though, because actually what's interesting is that in the US, our most recent Big Brother season, the winner of the season actually was somebody that had been voted out by the House and then was saved and brought back in. And he ended up going on a big streak to like win a bunch of competitions and win the whole game. So that's what I was like predicting. I was like, oh my God, it's exactly the same in Australia right now. Minee got voted out. She got saved and brought back in. She's just won the last 2 competitions. So it was like really fun to watch your whole, like, from start to finish, like your whole game. Yeah. Because it really did feel like once you came back in after being voted out, like there was just like a totally different like fire underneath you that like was like propelling you forward into the game. And like, I really did think for a while that you were probably going to win the game. Obviously, unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, but
That's okay.
but it was very impressive to watch for sure.
Yeah,
it was fun. Yeah, and I feel like if they'd shown like a lot of all of our personalities, there would have been like I don't know. I think that they tried to like dull me and Louis' personalities down because obviously the sisters like there's 2 of them, but they tried to dull the top 3's personalities down. Just so that like it's a little bit more of an even kind of playing field. But yeah, it definitely was a huge difference when I went back into the house. I just something in me wanted to stay there this time. I was like, there's no way I'm leaving again. You're not getting rid of me. I'm not exiting those doors. Yeah, but it's good. It's like I showed myself what I can actually do and what I'm capable of, and I'm not just in the game to like fall in love and have a boyfriend. Like it was really nice to play the game a little bit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
And that is certainly what your arc showed, because like, there was certainly a point in there. I was like, wait a minute, Minee is not just all about these pants now. Like she's here to play this game. And when you won that, I don't know what else to call it. Like we call it last gasp because that's what we call it in an American Survivor when you're in the water and you're underneath like
with the keys.
The steel grate. Yes, we call that a different thing. But that competition win was unbelievable. Like
I loved it. I loved it. And I think like, I freaking love that challenge. Like that's the kind of challenges that I was like, yes, let's do this. Like I'm somebody that's like got no fears. I'm like, drown me. I'm sure I can get myself out. Put me in a locked box. Somehow I'll escape. It's okay. It's okay. So those are the challenges that I really love doing. That's why I'm like, I need to go on Survivor. I feel like that would be so much fun. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was maybe just like what is it? I do sewing, like, so that's a lot of my job as well. I like make clothes. So I think it's just like fine motor skills.
Sure,
that, like I literally was just like this the entire time. I was like trying to unlock all the keys.
Yeah,
it was fun though.
So somebody told us there were like multiple keys that were there was like a lot of keys that were falling. It wasn't just like one per lock. This was like, how many keys fell on you during this? Like how wild was this?
So it shot down like this pipe and it was like hundreds. Like it felt like hundreds. You would just grab a bunch and then you just like go at it. Yeah, and I think it's just like the cold water kind of makes you like shake, so you can't put the key in the lock, so you're like struggling to like put in. But yeah, so it was a little bit of a harder challenge. I was definitely getting scared towards the end. I was like, is the water gonna drown me before I finish this? I freaking hope not. Like and then even Taylor told me when I won, she was like, I was borderline about to quit because my mouth was getting covered with water and I couldn't breathe anymore. I was like, glad that I won then.
Yeah.
You know, that competition was my worst nightmare. Like, I hate it.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
If you were to quit, like, how does it end? Like, what is one? Do they just drain the water then? Question mark? Question mark?
Yeah. So you can just like, there was a thing that when you got in, you could just push it up, but it just means you automatically like lose and you can't like stay in the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that was. But
it's all safe. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, when we've seen this on American Survivor, they actually do it like in the water, like at the shore, right? And this is all happening as like high tide is pulling in. So like that's what's pushing you closer and closer. But if you want to get out, you just swim out. And I was like,
it looks like you guys are like,
I was like, what is this? How do you get out? I was like, if I say, you know what, I don't want to do this, like it doesn't look like you could get out. So like that made me panic just as a viewer, you know.
Yeah, no, it was all safe, but it's just like when the adrenaline's going through you, you do not want to quit. So I feel like people just would not be breathing and they'd still be trying. Doesn't matter if they're breathing or not. So that's kind of like the disastrous like thing about it. You're just like, oh, like you don't want to quit. You want to keep going, but then you're like, but I'm losing breath. So,
right. Oh man.
That's kind of what's dangerous. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now you said that you would be down to do Survivor because we're from New York, we're from the US, but Australian Survivor is maybe one of our favorite reality TV shows in any country, anywhere. So do we need to reach out to Jonathan LaPaglia to get him to get you onto Australian Survivor?
Yes, please do it. I honestly, that's like when I watch a TV show, I'm like, the kind of TV show that I feel like I would dominate in is one where it's just like challenges and like Bear Grylls survival mode. Like I love living on the land. I'm like, I go like down south and I'll just like not have internet and then I'll just like catch fish. I'll do that stuff, you know, try and live off the land kind of things. It's fun. It's so much fun.
Oh, I love that.
I mean,
gets you back to like basic instincts.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, maybe for you, you know, I'm not going to catch you by the seashore catching nobody fish. I need to go down to the market, or that's going to be it. What's good for you for sure.
To be honest, the only thing I can really catch is squid. Nothing else. I really suck at fishing. So.
Well, you catching a squid is still one more thing that I would catch. So there you go. I might catch a cold.
Love it. Yeah, I am pretty baby. Like when I'm out there, I'm just like, nah, I need to go home. I'm like starting to get sick. But you know what? It's actually so much fun. Like those kind of things are so cool. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Would you ever play Big Brother again?
Hell yes. That was like easily the best experience of my life. Like when I went in there, I was like, this is like going to be the coolest thing that I ever do by far, because it's like, you know, so many people in their lifetimes want to do that show, you know, and it's just impossible to like get on. And I think like if it wasn't the House of Love, I probably wouldn't have gone on. So I'm really glad that like I even just got the opportunity to, but it was, yeah, like easily the coolest thing. I just grew up watching this show and I was just like, it's now to be like living in it, it's just insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
100%. Oh, that really is awesome.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Well, you mentioned before that you do some sewing and things on the side. So what is that about? And what's next for Minee after all this?
So, yeah, I do sewing. I made like a collection after I left the house, but it was like ages ago. And I just pretty much like sell all the clothes that I make. But that's pretty much it. I also just do like modeling. That's like a lot of my job. I used to have a freaking too many jobs. I'm also a barista. And then I'm like, do a few other things as well. Did Uber for a bit, you know. I just tried everything. I'm one of those people where I'm just like, I love just I don't know, trying crazy different things. But yeah, I do love sewing. So I'll probably go into that like general area, like fashion ways. But yeah, at the moment I'm just like chilling out, just trying to. I was thinking about doing like something like presenting in the future. So maybe you'll see me on the screens, but like hosting Survivor.
We would love that.
That would be sick. That would be
That
sick.
would be.
Yeah.
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 So where can our watchers and
kind of
listeners
just
like
taking it.
find your? Do you have a separate sewing page, or like how can we find your stuff?
Yeah, so it's just by Minee Marks, but I'm kind of just keeping that on the low at the moment. Just focusing on developing like collection at the moment, not really sewing it yet.
All right.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Just like taking things easy, but I'm also like definitely planning on traveling and like completing all of the, life goals that I'm wanting to do first.
Definitely. Okay. Very cool. Very
Mm.
cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions for Miss Minee?
Yeah, no questions for me. Just thank you so much, Minee. It was really fun to watch you all season. And thank you for coming and hanging out with us and talking to us here. So that's all I've got.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank
of course. Drop your handles for your personal pages so our listeners and watchers can come find you.
Yeah, so it's just Minee Marks, MINEEMARX, and that's on Instagram, TikTok, all of that stuff.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you so much.
thank you.
It was
Thank
an
you.
absolute pleasure. So much fun chatting.
Yes, I'm so
Yes.
glad that we got to make this happen. So thanks for taking some time out of your day just to hang out with us. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
It
you.
was so much fun to have a chat.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let us know when you're launching your
Yes, thank
collection. We're friends forever. Yes,
Yay, amazing.
we're down. We're interested.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
I hope
you.
you guys have a great night. Oh my gosh, it's like
it's
10
night.
p.m. over
Yeah,
there.
enjoy your entire day after this.
Okay.
Love it. Love it.
Enjoy.
I already enjoyed my yesterday for you guys.
Good. I'm so glad.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Thank
See ya.
you.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Mwah.